Sometime during the reign of Charles the Great, Holy Roman Emperor, in the springtime, just about the time of Pentecost, a great clamor arose in the court of His Majesty. A beautiful woman wandered her way through the feast, accompanied by 4 giants. She was beautiful, more beautiful than any of the knights thought possible, and so kindly to look at. And she came posing a challenge to all who would oblige. This woman, Angelica, set forth a great challenge indeed. Her brother, the Knight Uberto, really named Argalia, would battle any who wished to face him in a joust, where being dismounted resulted in a loss. Shall he win, the loser is to be his slave. But shall he lose, Angelica and her incomprehensible beauty would be betrothed to the victor, while Argalia would be banished from the lands of the Empire forever. They would just have to come to the stairs of Merlin, near the Fount of the Pine, to do such a battle. What none of the Paladins amid Charlemagne's court knew, nor none of the others within the feast, was that Argalia's spear was unerring in the effect that it dismounted opponents, and that his horse was magical and bore the boon of being incredibly fast enough to outstrip the wind, all but assuring his victory. Unknowing of these blessings, but suspicious of this challenge and the ease at which Angelica offered herself, the paladin Malagigi, an enchanter who stayed within the course, spirited himself away to follow her on her retreat. He tailed behind her until they came to the point of meeting, where he cast a powerful spell over the giants, her brother, and herself. Or so he thought. He had used divination to find the true rigging of this plot, and wishing to end such treachery before it began, went after them. Unfortunately, what he didn't know was that Angelica bore a ring that prevented her from being enchanted by such magics. And feigning sleep, she awoke and quickly woke all those in her party. The enchanter was quickly apprehended after. Meanwhile, back in Paris, the peers questioned among themselves who would go first, with Roland, the mightiest of the paladins, wishing to go. But alas, he would draw the last straw. It was Astolfo, the Englishman, who drew the first one. Now, here's something to know about Astolfo. Astolfo was extremely handsome, often called the most handsome man in the world. Very brave and quite rich. He was okay in combat, but not in jousting, where, be it by empty-headedness or lack of skill, he would often be thrown from his horse. While he would shake it off with a good laugh and get back on the horse to try again, he would often meet the same fate over and over and over again. Despite this, and Roland's indignation at not going first, Astolfo journeyed out into the woods to the designated meeting place. And immediately he and Argalia engaged in a joust. And it was here that the trap was set. Astolfo found himself thrown from the horse, from the mere slightest contact of the lance. This meant he was to be cast in chains as a servant of the knight for all his days. Despite this, Angelica, smitten by the handsome man and his good nature, spared him and granted him a place of honor and rest amongst the high estate within a pavilion. Now, the next peer that drew a lot was the paladin Farao, who, while quickly dispatched in the same way as Astolfo, did not take too kindly to Argalia, and as such wanted to slay him by blade. And attempt he did, leading to Argalia and Angelica fleeing into the wilderness. The other assembled paladins, hearing this treachery, quickly mounted and joined the chase after the siblings, whilst Astolfo picked up Argalia's lance for himself, keeping it. Now, the trap of Argalia is only the beginning of an entire saga for Angelica and the paladins, one of love, chasing demons, monsters, and plenty of jousting. But those are stories for a different day. As always, thanks for watching.